Yeah.
Sinclair, thanks for joining us, man. We've been doing more of these where we're kind of meeting with founders who are just like day to day coming out with really cool stuff, announcements, product launches. There's so much that's happening on a day to day basis. We didn't really expect to be doing this when we first met a few months back with the podcast. When you guys, thanks again for really supporting that and get behind that. That was something that's been just continues to be a really great part of our story. And when we first started that journey, it wasn't like, let's go do a news show. Let's go like talk about product releases and stuff on a daily. Like, I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to be a news anchor here, but here we are.
Here we are.
So
Drew, I love that you're doing this. You're doing this with the team. I mean, you've always had a very, personable, just personal attitude with this. And when I think about people who are growing the space and getting the news out there and sharing what's happening, you and Stable Studios, what you guys are doing are first to mind.
it means a ton. Only more things to come in that front. We're gonna start to think our team's talked a little bit. We're gonna stop talking about us after this, I promise. But there are it's a big week for us this week. We're finishing the product design for Stabledash. It's like our new product that we're coming out with. So next week, I'll host my own daily yield or something to celebrate. We can talk about it.
Well, maybe,
But yeah,
maybe
man, more to come on that.
maybe I can interview you on your product release. We'll swap it.
Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be
Yeah,
nice?
exactly.
Well, yeah, man. Thanks for the kind words. So, I guess first thing, go listen to that Mural season. If you're listening to this or watching this, Sinclair and team, we had this awesome conversation for that month. This was like early this year where we talked a lot about like stablecoin payments on a global scale, companies that are building peer-to-peer apps, different ways that a global approach looks for a stablecoin business like Mural. So go listen to that. Um, Sinclair, give us a quick intro on yourself and Mural for those who might be just listening, who don't want to go do that work, and then tell us about what happened today or what you're announcing.
Happy to. Yeah, I'm Sinclair Tofa, founder and CEO of Mural Pay. We have a cross-border payments infrastructure and platform. Specifically, we use stablecoins and blockchain infrastructure to work with banks, fintechs, and businesses. And today's a very exciting day for us because we are announcing our partnership with Taxbit. And Taxbit is one of the strongest digital asset accounting platforms and companies out there in the world, one of the first actually. And we are partnering up with them to power their stablecoin cross-border payments. And so what that means is Taxbit customers, they have a variety of larger enterprise customers such as Google, PayPal, Binance, Revolut, and more. We're starting out with a couple of their customers, and they can process these instant cross-border payments using stablecoins. And the neat thing is that their customers don't ever have to touch any blockchain tech. They don't need to know how it works. And it goes straight into bank accounts across the world, whether it's here in the US, in Europe. Um, a lot of people ask me, like a very simplified way, right? For those who are listening here in the US, think business Venmo for the world, right? And over the past couple of months, we've been working on our API for around 5-6 months now. And we went from really working on contractor payments, right, over to more of an API infrastructure play. And so we've been working with a lot of larger companies, fintechs, banks, companies like Taxbit, for instance. And so Taxbit is actually the first of many exciting announcements to come.
That's really cool. So, yeah, when we met, I think this was right around this pivot when you guys were going into more of this like infrastructure layer. Tell us again around, what does this mean for Taxbit? How exactly are they going to be plugging this into their systems? What would this look like? Maybe you can give an example. If I'm a Revolut or one of those really big clients that you mentioned, to me, that's definitely the newsworthy part of this moment. Is like people, if you don't know who Taxbit is, Taxbit is, like you said, one of the most like secretly baller businesses in this space
Yeah.
because they've just been around for so long and they've been very clear about what they do really well. And so I'm sure for these early movers, like you've mentioned, these companies they're not new to the game here. Like these are big on-chain organizations that need tax related software and tools to operate within the world of being regulated or doing things above board or trying to. So it gets me really pumped to hear that you guys are partnering with them because of that influence. What does that mean for, yeah, going back to the question a little bit, like maybe there's an example, or how does this come to life really for people who are using Taxbit?
Yeah, I'll speak to those who are using Taxbit. So those who are using Taxbit, we actually deployed it directly under the Taxbit domain. So if you have a Taxbit account, you can just go to Taxbit, and then you can log into your account, and you'll automatically get redirected to effectively a white labeled version of our Mural platform that's directly powered for Taxbit. So the neat thing for Taxbit is actually minimizes a lot of the development work that they need to do, allows them to get this new product out quicker and immediately start testing it out with their customers. So the first route is more of a white labeled route, right? Where we can deploy our front end and back end infrastructure with the branding and logo of the end customer. And then the second route is a direct API integration, which takes a couple of weeks, where we actually directly integrate with the backend of the platform. And so here, it's very easy for Taxbit customers to sign up, create their account, go through the identity verification process, and then they can get started with their payments. The neat thing here,
Sorry to cut you off here, but like, has Taxbit done? Is this the first time they've offered payment functionality in this way?
this is the very first time. Yep.
Dude, that's crazy. What an interesting like land and expand come to life. You know, like think about all these clients. They're uh would you say like, I'm Google, I'm all those companies you mentioned and many, many others. I'm using Taxbit in my mind, accounting and reconciliation and these things that are like, go, finance team, go use that tool. Now this is becoming with Mural a essentially like a core Stripe like platform. Is that what you think Taxbit is trying to go after? Like this modern end to end financial suite?
Yeah, I think a lot of Taxbit's customers really trust Taxbit. The accounting and reconciliation component tends to be a very complex workflow. And so since they've built that trust with their customers, a lot of them naturally who've already been coming to them and asking them, hey, how do we do stablecoin payments and invoicing compliantly? Now they can say, hey, we actually have this integration and you can get started today. And so we're going to see a nice trickle effect happening. And because that prior existing relationship's there, it's very easy to get up and running. And the neat thing is, I was just recently in Colombia, going to Mexico as well, and for the first time ever, I show up to a meeting with a bank, and they actually tell me, "Hey, we are launching several pilots with stablecoins. How can we get started?" Right. So you can imagine a world in which you have a Taxbit customer here in the US or in the UK, right? And they need to do a payment to someone in Mexico or in Colombia. It could be a vendor, could be for a conference, could be whatever it might be. And they can do an instant payment. And since that bank accepts stablecoins now, it happens in a matter of seconds. And we're going to see this interesting shift where actually banks are going to be holding stablecoins on their balance sheet. And in Colombia, for instance, you have COPM, which is created by the folks at Minteo, which is the Colombia stablecoin. And shout out to them. And so we're seeing a lot of those, uh, you know, William, exactly. Well, yeah, we did. We just hosted an event with them last week there, and so that's the exciting part is this wave is happening in Colombia and Mexico, throughout the U.S., throughout Europe, and really one of the big propellers here was the Genius Act that really led the regulation here in the U.S., allowing banks to hold and interact with stablecoins, and so we're seeing the rest of the world follow right now.
It's amazing, Sinclair. What an awesome day for you guys. I feel like this is, at least in my view, the first time I've seen a partnership that is, this is a really, really significant. Mural has a lot of amazing startup, fintech, growing stablecoin native customers that are like building. I'm about to hop on a call with Mike from Sling Money, like these types of companies, Um, but this sort of like in my view, this opens up the new market in some ways for Mural in terms of the ideal customer profile that you guys want to go after. So I'm really excited for this. I also feel like Taxbit and this like land and expand strategy for banks and for a lot of these institutions who are probably like, it's probably easier to just use Mural if I already have, or use Taxbit for this thing in their minds. This is all embedded, right? Like you guys are completely under the hood.
All embedded.
Yeah, so they're not going to even necessarily know, which is great. But like, it's probably way easier for them to use that within TaxBit versus like, all right, let's go like build this or evaluate all these different things, or go get approval from all these different people. It's like, no, let's just like use it within TaxBit and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's the
That's awesome.
contract's there, the team's there, and it was a
Yeah,
pleasure working with Aaron Jacob from Taxbit, and of course Chris, my co-founder and CTO, who did all of the heavy lifting. I want to give a shout out to them. And it's funny because Chris and I, we were talking the other day, and we realized, wow, like at Palantir, a lot of the work we were doing was building out data pipelines, integrating with a lot of data sources, building out applications on that, and just moving money around the world is moving data around the world. And so we've effectively built these very sophisticated data pipelines that connect, banks, blockchain-based accounts, and more. And so that's why we've really leaned into the API infrastructure play over the past, 6 months, because that's our expertise. That's our bread and butter. And it's been great to see the traction pick up. And Drew, I appreciate our earlier conversations this year. And yeah, it's a big moment for us.
yeah, man. Well, thanks for joining.
Thanks for taking the space. And also to anyone who's listening, if you're a bank, if you're a fintech, if you're running a marketplace, for instance, or a platform, and you're thinking, wow, how do I integrate stablecoin payments? How do I integrate stablecoin invoicing, for instance? Please reach out to us. You can find us at muralpay.com. Reach out to me on LinkedIn, email, whatever works best. And Drew, thanks again for having me.